am here with a good friend, Chris Sotelo. Chris, welcome. For those who may not know a little bit about you, can you share a little bit what you do now?
Yeah, so currently I am the lead video producer for the executive communications team at Google.
Yeah.
Which basically means I do videos for the central comms team, which consists of an internal and external team.
Yeah.
And I do video work that involves any high-level VP or high-level executive and any big announcements that need to go out that runs through me. I also run, interestingly enough, I have a web show.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I have a web show that goes out to like 90,000 plus people, because that's the staff at Google now is like 90,000 people. And I shoot, direct, edit, write, and sometimes I'm in it.
Wow.
So,
okay.
And it's a legit one-man band. I do.
So what happens during these web shows? What do you talk about? The latest there?
Yeah, so we talk about this last one that we produced. I talked about the latest hardware release.
Yeah.
So before that, we covered Google's internal ping pong tournament.
Okay.
Yes, there is a legit table tennis tournament. They have coaches that were like Olympians, and this is like legit table tennis.
Yeah,
like, They're slamming it from like 6 feet away from the table and everything like that. And other times we do, like I got to go to Waymo's top secret testing facility in the Central Valley. Hop in a driverless car before people could hop in driverless cars. And so I get the inside scoop. I get to showcase the things that we're doing. And then also like shine a light on good stories that we're doing with like employee resource groups and like educational initiatives. Yeah. So it's great.
Now, Chris, a lot of times people hear, wow, you work at Google. That is great. But the thing is, you didn't start there. No. Where did you start from the time at University of Illinois to where you are at Google? How did it all come about? Yeah,
so I actually mentioned that in my talk, in my seminar. The first job that I got out of college, and I was like 5-year college student because I was undecided for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I ended up like taking crazy credit hours, like 21 credit hours a semester just to graduate in 5. I ended up choosing English and language arts as my major and secondary education as my minor. So from there, my very first job out of college was substitute high school teacher. Yes. And then from there, I was a pre-K teacher. And then 3rd and 4th grade, middle school writing. I taught for 7 years. And then from there, just was dabbling in video the whole time. Yeah. Right. So dabbling in video on. And for your church at U of I at that point in time. Yeah. I still remember when you and I first met, you were still doing that. Okay. Yeah. We had our church had like almost a sketch comedy group, very similar to like Saturday Night Live. We'd come up with skits weekly. I was in these skits. We'd write them, we'd shoot them, and then we'd do stuff with them. And so that kept my skills a little sharp at the time. And then from there, got into wedding videography. Did that for close to 7 years. Okay. And then towards the end of that, started freelancing. And then from freelancing, hit like a really rough stint of no work, actually. Because you were involved with churches helping churches when they were doing that with Thomas Kim, everything like that. Wow, okay. Yeah, so there's really great amount of work that was coming along. But I think in terms of if you're doing a startup and to create that like a tenable, scalable program, you know how hard that is, right? Yeah. So for me, I just realized that like I don't want to run and operate my own business. I'd rather just create, right, if I can. And so I realized how I was built as a creator, and that's why I jumped into freelancing from there and just started latching on to different projects and people, building my resume, and then just started building up my reel and throwing it out there into the ether, as they say. Putting it in God's hands, though, man, that was a challenge. And Chris, in some sense, what I'm hearing from you, it's a journey, isn't it? Oh, totally. From when you had no work, then to the realization, I don't want to run my own business anymore. Yeah. I don't want to be looking and be a salesperson project. I just want to create. Yeah. And now, well, I got to create opportunities to create. Let me just do anything. Yeah. I got to start from the bottom, taking any jobs to where you are right now. Where you are right now, people say, wow, look at that. But it took a long road to get there. Absolutely. Yeah. I have this conversation with my wife right around this time every year. October, November is kind of like, it's kind of equal to when the Israelites would set up these monuments on their journey in the desert. Right? They'd set up these like stone pillars. This is our stone pillar time because we look back every October and November and remember the grace of God in our lives.
Yeah.
That despite the closed doors and all the no's, like we fully understood and were made aware that God was good, no matter what. And that his goodness wasn't contingent upon the outcome.
Yeah.
He's just good, right? And just because we even understood that cerebrally didn't mean that all of a sudden we'd get all of our hopes and dreams answered.
Yeah.
We just knew whether through plenty or want, he's good. He's a good God.
Yeah.
And so I remember during that season, before even getting picked up or noticed by Google, it was like I was production assistant on certain shoots, and I'd be the coffee boy.
Yeah,
I'd literally be running to get people coffee. And for me, though, like, I'd do it because it was the job that was put in front of me, right? Like, what am I going to do? Not be faithful to that? Like, like, I was hired for this? Yes. So I was just taking all sorts of jobs.
Yeah.
I'd be faithful. Like, you got to be faithful with what's in front of you. And, you know, walk those steps. Because what is happening internally and what God is doing inside of me was like, well, that was everything. Yeah. And so, it didn't happen overnight. This was a lot of like, I pin it on, you know, my immigrant roots. I was born and raised in Chicago, but my family's an immigrant family. My dad and mom were like blue collar people, hard work ethic, you know, roll up your sleeves kind of deal, and nothing comes easy, so you got to work at it. And combine that with just stalwart faith in knowing that God's going to lead us to where he wants to lead us. And that's it.
It's funny, Chris, a lot of times God works with us through different issues in our lives and through different points in our life. You talked about grabbing coffee. You talked about substitute teaching. You talked about all those and having no business. If you look back, how did each one of those things, substitute teaching, spending time in the school system, looking for work, how did that create the character that you have now? What are some of the things that you said, wow, I could see why God put those things. Here's who I am now because of those things.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like God continually brought me low for a reason, right? One of the things that I remember committing to my wife when I proposed to her was, when I proposed to her, I actually washed her feet. And I said, like, I want to serve you like Jesus serves. And that was the picture. I didn't really understand what that meant until I started getting these really low jobs, right?
Yeah.
And in the eyes of people, I can only imagine like what my parents were thinking, like, you're a substitute teacher, like, you don't have a job, you know, these kind of things. And to the world, what it looked like. But for me, what it felt like and what was happening inside was God was really teaching me what it meant to be low, so that I wouldn't be able to look at anyone from a high position.
Yes.
You know, like I can't lord anything over anybody.
Yeah.
You know. Also, I think that like there's inherent work in whatever's in front of you. Like there's God-breathed work in whatever God has put in front of you.
Yeah.
I just believe that. You know. Yeah. And so, what has happened over the years is like I have a lot more empathy, far less judgment on anybody, and because I don't know what anybody's story is.
Yeah.
Like just because they're in a position of like a higher position or lower position doesn't mean a single thing about their character or who they are, right? I can only imagine what that would have been like if someone was making judgments on me based off of like, here's the coffee boy.
Correct.
I'm like,
correct.
That's fine. You can think what you want to think.
Yeah. Hey, your work at Google in terms of telling a story and everything like that how is communications different from when you first started? I mean, what are you guys doing now in terms of telling stories, shooting videos, things like that, that you just didn't realize, or how is it evolving over time?
Yeah, so communications in video is, everything is a lot more accessible. I think there's a lot more accessibility, meaning that the barrier of entry, even 10 years ago, was really expensive.
Yeah.
Super expensive, like for people to get into it. This predated the DSLR times, right? Digital SLRs. Mm-hmm. To buy a cinema camera to shoot on, that's so expensive. It's like $20,000 at the time. Okay. I'm like, who has money to do that? Nobody, right? And so what you would need to do is save up or have someone finance you. But now, like, you can pick up a camera, you can get some sound equipment, you can shoot on your phone, and you can grab equipment for your phone that will do the same thing that professional equipment will do.
Yeah.
And so because things are super accessible, that means that stuff has to get put out even faster.
Yeah.
Right? And so the challenge is staying relevant, but also staying on top of not just the latest gear, but like how to champion whatever platform you're on.
Yeah.
Right? Like Instagram stories, or if you're shooting stuff for like, you know, Facebook stories, or internally, what does that mean?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Now, Chris, how do you see it evolving? Like right now, we've gone from to Insta posts, Insta stories, Facebook posts. Is it evolving? How do you see it? Where do you see it evolving going to?
Yeah, so attention spans are really short.
Yes, even sermons short. Now. Yeah. It used to be an hour long, right?
Oh, man, micro sermons.
Then it went to 30 minutes, and now you're lucky. Some of these guys are 15 minutes now.
Yeah, it's challenging. Instagram stories got a 15-second limit. I think you're lucky if you can retain someone to watch a minute-long video.
Yes.
It's got to be a really good video. You gotta like speak to people's attention, where like they're doing now those text call-out videos where you see text popping up because people don't even want to turn on their sound.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to reach the masses, it depends on who your audience is. If you're trying to reach the masses, then try to find the lowest barrier of entry there to get in.
Got it.
But if you're trying to communicate something beautiful, I think you could take your time with it and just make good stuff. You know?
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, a couple of fun things to talk with you about.
Yeah.
Google. If people were to work at Google, what is one app that you just think, man, you got to just try this app and use this app?
Oh, at Google. Okay. So let's see. They had this app called Just Align.
Okay.
Okay, so Just Align means that you can draw in 3D space and interact with whatever you draw with.
Really? Okay.
So they have that HTC Vive thing where people can paint.
Yeah.
You ever see that painting thing? Well, this is like the really slimmed down phone-only version.
Wow.
So like if I'm standing there, I can draw like around you, and then you can like navigate it with it. And then there's also there's an AR stickers. Like if you're sitting right there, I can throw like R2-D2 next to you, and he looks real, and you could be interacting with him.
Really?
Yeah. So fun stuff like that.
Hey, Chris, here I thought is Gmail offline was going to be the one thing you were going to tell me. Wow.
That's great. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
that's fun stuff.
What is the one perk about Google that you enjoy that it's in the office?
There's so many. Like I'm going to say what any person who works at Google is the food.
Really? Okay.
We've got. They change the menu every day. I don't think I've bought a lunch for myself in possibly consciously maybe 3 years.
Okay.
Because except on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because the free food isn't abundant, and I will say, I did gain that Google 15. I got pudgy, and so I had to do something about it.
Yeah.
I had to change up my health regimen after that first year.
What is one thing about working at Google that people may not know or the regular public may not be familiar with?
The people, your teams, I think they don't understand how small the teams are that run things.
Got it.
Teams that run some of the biggest stuff in the world, for instance, like the Google social team.
Yeah.
It's a team of like 7 people.
Got it.
You know, these are small, scrappy teams doing incredible work. The engineering side of things, like for instance, the new Google Home Hub came out, and what it does is there's this thing called ambient EQ, where if you go in a room and you turn on a light and you see how the light interacts with a photo.
Yeah.
They did it so that like your digital photo frame will react to the same exact way. It'll look the same as a printed photo that it does on this digital device.
Really?
It'll dim and it'll glow just the way a normal photo would. The person who did that is a small team, but one person eyeballed that.
Wow.
And wrote it all down. We've got some really talented people that work there. Really talented people who want to make a difference.
Yeah. How is Google's environment and culture? When you think of Google, you think of Amazon, they're always cutting edge. Mm-hmm. How do they stay on top of the competition? How do they stay relevant? How do they stay?
Well, Google's mission is what? To organize the world's information and make it universally accessible for everyone, right? And I think because of that second part of wanting to make it universally accessible for everyone means cutting no corners and truly making it accessible. Like that means people with visual impairments, hearing impairments, users who are otherwise like on, I guess, like underserved populations, like next billion users, the NBU market.
Got it.
They're really doing things to try to get everyone like to give everyone access, right? Because that's the whole mission. And I think that's what sets it apart is we're actually trying to give people that access.
Got it. Chris, thank you very much for spending some time with us.
My pleasure.
All right.